how to use certain tools that they could use to track aircraft. There are misidentifications out there, but see, that's the thing with you can't trust the bunkers. Like, you cannot trust Mick West. Everyone remembers he turned down the $5,000 offer from Scott Roeder to do an analysis of the Las Vegas alien video. So how could you trust this guy? He knows that there's nothing he can do about that. He can't debunk it. He always takes the easy stuff. And that's what he's doing right now. I mean, it's simple. There's so many different people out there who have their eyeballs on the sky. There's going to be misidentifications. And so what he does, he shows up on CNN. He talks about what's happening on there, gives his analysis on there of what's going on. That people are just having misidentification or misidentifying things. That's what he's doing. And then he'll show you, okay, here you can use this aircraft tracker, and he'll show you, okay, this is where these are planes that you're seeing, and he's able to prove in some of these cases that they're just our aircraft. That's all it is, and they're just being misidentified. But that's not the case, as everyone knows. In fact, a lot of these drones are still being seen all over the place. And Matt Ford from the Good Trouble Show, he recently was speaking with someone, a law enforcement official from the Midwest, who told the Good Trouble Show that these drones, they see drones as large or larger than cars. They think that they are non-human intelligent operated. It began accelerating about 3 weeks ago in these sightings, and they feel that the White House is lying. It's not just New Jersey now, it's happening everywhere. And that's from one of the guests on Matt Ford's Good Trouble Show. And so we can't believe what the bunkers are telling you, because they're going to do the easy pickings kind of thing, and they're going to say, okay, yeah, see, there was aircraft in this area, that was just a misidentification. But what about all the rest? And then what about all of the incursions over military installations, over reservoirs, over it's sensitive airspace? It continues, it just continues, and it's not stopped. And so despite what the debunkers might tell you, it's not solved. It is not solved. But we talked recently about how it could be what's happened here is that the government has been sending up some secret drones for some purpose, maybe as a way to confuse people because of all of the sudden sightings of orbs. And that's what I want to talk about here today. There was actually a Reddit user, effectivead604060, who has put a very good post on Reddit, I have to say, and basically he has a listings of different sightings of legitimate orb sightings. And you can click on each one of these and you'll see some very strange things. Here's what he writes on Reddit. He says, due to an overwhelming amount of shares, I've decided to keep updating this forward. I would encourage everyone to post whatever sites they see on this area.
Like there's an accident because people are retarded. Hi, Dougie. Hi, Mom.
Orb just hovering there, and then there it goes. What is that? Where's it going? What was was it doing there? What's happening? These are just some of the videos you're going to see on Reddit right now. And then I go back, and then I go back now, and then yeah, you can check. I'll leave the link here so you can check this out for yourself. This was a really interesting one here. It says, woman standing on her balcony captures orb within meters of her flying between two buildings. And this was a strange one. There's this orb here flying, and this was, I guess, taken off of TikTok. And then it goes in between these two buildings. What is that? It disappears. So there's a lot of orb sightings right now, and these are just some of them. And here's another one. Woman live streams orb with erratic movements. Live stream was strangely stopped. Let's check this one. Let's see. An object here in the back, just floating. A lot of these things. Yep, a drone flies next to an orb, and then the orb speeds off. You know, this is what I was talking about. Like, I was talking about something like this. You know, this is the reason for the drones. I mean, you know, that's a possibility here, is that what's happening is all of a sudden orbs start showing up all over the place, and then to confuse the situation or to come up with a different alternative explanation, the government sends up drones, either as a deterrent or actually to confuse people. So people say, "Hey, okay, you know, there's no orbs. It's just drones. See, look at that. Now that orb is now taking off straight up, way up. The drone approaches it, and then it's flying around. The orb speeds up, just like the headlight reads. Now again, we don't know if this. I think these videos are legitimate. We can't say what they are one way or the other. But the fact of the matter is that there are a lot of orb sightings. That's what a lot of people are saying. It says here, U.S. Capitol orb, plane and orb can be seen. Orb is stationary. Let's see what this one shows. Right next to the Capitol building itself. Well, who's operating these drones and why? I guess that's the question. And why are there orbs seen a lot of times in the area of these drones? What's happening? You know, I believe that some people think that the drones themselves are extraterrestrial. That may be the case. We can't say for sure, but it is possible. What's happening is that the drones are top secret drones, and they're being used as some sort of deterrent, or as some form of a subterfuge. Okay, well, all these orbs are appearing all over the place. So why don't we just send up a whole bunch of our top secret drones, and then people won't know what they think, and then we can just tell them, yeah, see, it's just drones, and it's just a wave going on here. It's mass hysteria. Blame it on mass hysteria. All to just keep it a secret, to keep the reality of the extraterrestrial presence a secret. Have people confused and not know what's going on. Don't give them any straight answers, and all done deliberately. And here's some more weirdness. What's going on there? I mean, some of them do. Some of these objects look like they're drones, right? Some of them are orbs. There's an orb and a drone right here in this image here. What's happening? It's like a connector. The drone got close to that orb. The orb is just hovering here in the sky. What's happening? Who knows? So there's an orb interacting with another orb and a drone. Yeah, so basically two orbs interacting with the drone. What's happening? We're not getting any answers from our government.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Commercial Insurance. Business owners need Progressive Insurance. They make it easy to get discounts on commercial auto insurance and find coverage as little as 6 minutes at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliated and third-party insurers. Discount coverage selections not available in all states or situations. podcast is supported by Progressive, a leader in RV insurance. RVs are for sharing adventures with family, friends, and even your pets. So if you bring your cats and dogs along for the ride, you'll want Progressive RV insurance. They protect your cats and dogs like family by offering up to $1,000 in optional coverage for vet bills in case of an RV accident, making it a great companion for the responsible pet owner who loves to travel. See Progressive's other benefits and more when you quote RV insurance at progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Pet injuries and additional coverage and subject to policy terms.
Okay, here's one that says orb disables drone mid-air over Phoenix. Let's check this out. Okay. That gives an object, a blinking object coming into view. There's something hovering there in the sky, and there's actually three things in the sky. What's going on? Looks like two of them could be drones. One in the middle looks like it could be an orb. So this would help with that theory, the hypothesis that the drones are being used as a deterrent against whatever these orbs are. That could be what's happening here. You see an orb hovering in the sky. There's two drones. One's very close to it right now. What's happening? Why is this going on? Who knows? Maybe the government wants to get a closer look at some of these orbs. They're top secret drones, and that's the reason they can't say anything. What are they going to tell the public? They've been lying about the alien aid almost. So what do? Okay, we can't tell them about what we're doing. Look at that. It's like something dropped out of it. Wow, that was weird. Yeah, these are very, very strange videos. Really, no explanation. Okay, here's another one. Multiple bright orbs flying over someone's house in Maine. As you can see, we're all over the country here. It's funny side. Look at that. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I see at least 6. 7. 7. Just flying over. What are they? Orbs. And again, that would explain if the government is responsible for the drones, then you have to ask why don't they want to talk about these? All of them. All of them is due to the stupidity of the public. That's what comes down to. That seems to be the excuse that's being conned around here by the establishment media. These people, figures of the establishment, are states basically stating that, which is just the fact that people are stupid and dumb. Everyone out there is dumb. If you see something up in the sky and you have no explanation for it, that's because you're stupid. That's the reason. And we're going to get into that. Now, I did touch a little bit on this in the previous show, but we're going to get into a lot more. Anyway, let's start with the article. This is a new article from space.com, and the headline reads, "Planes, drones, or UFOs? What are people seeing in the New Jersey sky?" Now, of course, as we all know, it's beyond New Jersey. It's all over the eastern seaboard, and it's other states now as well. It's all across this country, Texas, Oregon, all over the place, California, everywhere. People are seeing all kinds of weird objects in the sky these days. And now in New Jersey, along the eastern seaboard, yeah, there has been a lot of what they're saying are drone sightings, large car-sized drones. And we've talked about could be on this show. There could be that the government is sending up these special drones that they don't want to talk about. They're not going to admit that they belong to them. Right? They're going to send them up as a possible deterrent against potentially these visitors that are here, this alien presence among us, which we know for a fact, as I've documented on this channel, right, numerous times. We have absolute proof now that shows that we are not alone, right? It's no longer a guessing game about this. It's no longer there's no reason to wonder anymore. With the mainstream news, they're not aware of this, or they're pretending they're not aware of this, or whatever the case is, but they're trying to put out a different kind of narrative. That basically is the stupidity of people. That's what it boils down to. I just want to read a little bit of this article, and then we're going to get into something else. It says here, there's a direct quote from somebody here. It says, this is a case of the general populace not being familiar with the density of air traffic in the national airspace, particularly on the eastern seaboard. Now that's a lot of baloney. We'll get into that in a second. It says here, the recent sightings of puzzling unidentified aircraft in other states have triggered yet another round of unanswered questions and fueled conspiracy theories. For one, the odd objects have sparked the visual public mayday and melee, one that might be mirroring elements of the ongoing unidentified anomalous phenomenon or UAP issue, stirring talk of secretive saucer crashes by run-amok alien crew members with expired driver's licenses. What nonsense. Mischaracterization of what's seen, public anxiety about what's not known, government officials seemingly unclear of what's happening, tossing Capitol Hill lawmakers demanding answers about what to do next. It's all enough to give you a case of the high and low altitude heebie-jeebies. It's, you know what, there's no panic ongoing despite these establishment hacks from the telly. There's no panic. It's just a lot of people are expressing concern. That's not panic. Panicking is a totally different emotion here. It's not what's happening. There's people who are expressing concerns about all these objects in the sky, and they just want answers from the government, and the government is not willing to provide those answers. They just won't do it because I believe, and a lot of us out there, right, is that it has something to do with this non-human intelligent presence on this planet. As we know, we have the evidence that shows that there is something here. There's no question about it. So why are all of a sudden, all over the place, are these large car-sized drones up in the sky? Are they alien themselves? The government will give us this answer. Are there misidentifications, as some debunkers want to say? Yes, of course there are. It's because there's a lot more eyeballs on the skies these days. So of course people are going to misidentify conventional aircraft. Of course that's going to happen. But there are other objects that are being seen too. Orbs, for instance. A lot of people have been seeing orbs in the sky. They're not drones. Orbs are not drones. Nobody has an answer for the orbs, right? They just don't. And then anyway, continuing here, it says, Jamie Jacob, Executive Director of the Oklahoma Aerospace Institute for Research and Education at Oklahoma State University in Stillwater, has some thoughts about what's likely going on. This is the case of the general populace not being familiar with the density of air traffic in national airspace, particularly on the eastern seaboard. Jacob published most people today generally don't spend much time looking up at the night sky, and when you do, you finally start to see what's around you. Jacob said that while the possibility of drone threats is something that we should be concerned about, particularly since we're largely unprepared to deal with, the present scenario appears to be mostly misidentification of piloted aircraft. So that's what they're trying to tell you. It's basically stupidity of people who weren't paying attention to the skies before. All of this is good. Now, I would argue that a small portion of it has to do with that. I think people are aware of what's going on in the sky. How can you not be when you're driving your car, especially in a highly populated area? You see stuff all the time flying around, aircraft, all over the place. This is different than that. There's something more going on. But they don't want to admit that. Instead, they want to make it look like it's all people just acting, being stupid. Anyway, continuing with this article, this is the drones that have been sighted, Jacob, look to be genuinely operating under the United States Federal Aviation Administration's night authorization for drone pilots. Nefarious operations would, as a rule of thumb, not fly with navigation lights so as to be harder to track, said Jacob. The misidentification of commercial airliners and private aircraft as drones are predominantly due to the difficulty in determining size and distance of a vehicle without a reference scale. Research that we have done on estimating size and location of both drones and manned aircraft backs this up. Okay, again, there's going to be misidentifications, especially at a time like this when you're in the middle of a flap. Okay, of course, there's going to be misidentification. According to the mainstream news, that's all of this pretty much going to be pinned down on that. To look in the minds of a lot of people, in the minds of a lot of different people from the establishment government. And here's an opinion piece that appeared in the Washington Post that was written by Garrett Kraft. I did mention this recently in a recent show. We're talking about it here before. And just the headline alone, panic over mystery drones, says more about people than UFOs. Now he's calling me saying there's a panic. People are panicking. Everyone's in a panic. And that's not what's happening. People are just expressing concerns. They're not panicking. And they're saying, just recently I went out in the backyard and my neighbor was out in the backyard. And he was looking up at the sky. I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm just looking for drones. And he just laughed. He wasn't panicking. He was just acknowledging that other people are out there noticing drones in the sky these days. And he was just looking up to see if he could spot them too. There was no panic, right? It's just concern, wondering what's going on with all drones. That's what it is. Now, panic is something else, right? But yet Garrett Graff, who, by the way, is the author of this terrible book that I reviewed last year, or maybe it's earlier this year, published last year, late last year, that we were talking about on the show earlier this year. And this book was absolute garbage. It was half-assed research that we talked about before, and here we have a half-assed opinion piece that appears in the Washington Post. And by the way, the Washington Post is not a place to be trusted from. It is not the old Washington Post of old. It's not the Watergate era Washington Post anymore. It's a piece of garbage. That's what it is. Do not trust the Washington Post. They do not take this subject seriously whatsoever. Anyway, the subheadline for this, it says, "Life's great mysteries aren't solved by taking out the trash and dragging them out of the spirit of life." See, Garrett Graff has this guy has an explanation for all of these things. And if you see something in the sky, obviously you're stupid or you misidentified something or whatever, a combination thereof, according to this my opinion here. And he starts off, he says, "The rising panic." Again, rising panic. It's not a panic, it's people expressing concerns and demanding answers already about the reality of the world in which we live. That's what's going on here. It's not a panic. A lot of us actually already know for a fact that we're not alone, and we just want more answers. Is what's going on recently with all of these sightings in the sky? Does it have something to do with these creatures, right, that we know are here, that we've seen on video, that we've seen we actually have absolute proof of their existence now? That's all we want to know, but the government doesn't want to provide those answers. I mean, we've had people testify under oath last year, this year, right, talking about in House committees, right, talking about reverse engineering and crash retrieval programs, and that we're not alone in the universe, right? People testifying under oath to this fact, right? And you have the Pentagon, meanwhile, continuing to lie to people about this reality, and meanwhile, then you have people like Garrett Graff, who here's another opportunity. I'll write a piece of garbage, half-assed research opinion piece for the Washington Post. They'll publish it because they love this kind of stuff. They love these kind of stories. They want to make the public feel like they're stupid idiots and that we're in charge and we got everything under control. When in fact they do not have everything under control. If the Pentagon had this situation under control, you would think they would tell us by now. But obviously they don't have it under control, and that's why they're not saying anything about it.
A designer shoe warehouse. We believe that shoes are an important part of everything.
From first steps to first dates, from all-nighters to all-time personal bests.
From building elephants to
Right. For all the big and small moments that make up your whole world,
DSW is there.
and we've got just the shoes. Find a shoe for every you from brands you love at drive-worthy prices at your DSW store or DSW.com.
More rewards, more savings. With American Express Business Gold, earn up to $395 back in annual statement credits on eligible purchases at select shipping, food delivery, and retail subscription merchants. Enjoy the benefits of membership with the Amex Business Gold Card. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold Card. Built for business by American Express.
Anyway, the rising panic over mystery drones swarming the skies of mid-Atlantic states reminds us that in the centuries-long hunt to identify UFOs, humans are usually the weakest link. So basically, humans are the stupid ones here. It's us humans who are really stupid, and we're the weakest link. Actually, no, the weakest link, right, is the Pentagon to the media. That's the weakest link. The Pentagon and the media. The Pentagon lies, and the media just eats it up. They lap it up. The mainstream media, they lap up the lies. They don't do any further investigation. They don't look into the important stories that are earth-shattering, world-changing stories when it comes to this subject. For instance, the Las Vegas alien story. They won't look into. Won't do an investigation into that, even though it's laid out right there for them. It wouldn't take much. It's all research is already done, but they won't do anything with it. Why? They don't want the people truth, right? They don't care. Anyway, continuing, he says America has real national security challenges in the new era of unmanned aerial vehicles in warfare, but an invasion of mystery drones over New Jersey isn't one of them. So basically, Garrett Graff, he knows all. This man knows all. He went to Harvard. He knows all. He lived a great life compared to a lot of us. See, I don't think that this guy, I don't think that he ever worked at some of the places that I worked in. Right? I did it all, folks. Right? I worked in factories. I drove truck. I did all kinds of stuff. In addition to being a reporter for 14 years, I was a laborer. I did everything under the sun. I worked in McDonald's. I worked all over the place. Did all kinds of things. Factories, everything. All kinds of stuff, right? This guy, right? I don't think he knows what his view of the world is from a cushy office from his whole life, and the halls of Harvard. That's about it. He doesn't know what it's like to be out there in the real world. He doesn't know what real people are like. He looks down on. People like Garrett Graff. He thinks he's better than everyone else. And he looks down on you. He thinks you're a stupid moron. Hey, read my garbage about UFOs and believe it because I know more than you because I went to Harvard. And look at the Washington Post is publishing my crap. You should read it and believe it because obviously if it's not true, it wouldn't be in the Washington Post, right? Anyway, continuing. As it turns out, just as eyewitnesses often bungle the details of, say, a car accident on the corner, we are notoriously unreliable when it comes to identifying and reporting UFOs. A huge percentage of, quote, sightings, end quote, turn out upon investigation to be the planet Venus or other surprisingly bright astronomical phenomena. People on the ground regularly misjudge distances in the sky so that even objects miles away are perceived to be close by. See, again, this moron didn't do his research, but yet people are supposed to take his word for gospel. That's gospel. That's
breaks.
I mean, so the object that I saw back in 1994 that was up close right in front of me, right? I wasn't looking way up in the sky up at Venus, right? This thing, whatever I saw, right, that didn't make any sound, right? That was as big as a house. That was only 2.5 stories off the ground, and within 20 feet of me, that my friend was able to shine the flashlight on the bottom of it, and then the object moved in ways that our conventional aircraft is unable to move, right? See, that stuff doesn't count. None of those kind of sightings, that's not what he's talking. All these sightings, according to this guy, according to him and people like him, right? All the people in the mainstream news, the Mick Wests, right? Who gets brought on CNN, right? CNN brings on Mick West, right? Imagine this. Mick West, the former video game programmer, like now he's held up, he's put on some sort of a pedestal, like he's some sort of a god when it comes to identifying what's in the sky. Like he knows all. This guy who's a former video game programmer, he's able to tell us everything. He has explanations for everything. Just remember, he was the one who got behind that stupid explanation for the Ariel Schools incident where he said it was a traveling puppeteer troupe, right, that was responsible for the creatures and object flying saucer that over 60 kids witnessed, right? That's what that was. And then when it comes to the Vegas alien thing, remember that was raccoons and coyotes. He said that, and here CNN's bringing this guy on as an expert to tell us what's out in the sky after when he was trying to tell us before that what people saw in the Vegas backyard was only raccoons and coyotes, when we know that that's furthest from the truth. But yet that guy's held up on the pedestal by channels like CNN. And obviously Garrett Graff is held up on a pedestal by people like who run the Washington Post. Jeff Bezos loves this guy. He'll set the world straight. He'll set the public straight. He'll get them to stop, quote, panicking, end quote. Where's the panic? There is no panic. That's a lie. That's a lie. People are concerned. They just...
Adios.